Living Adaptive.
The goal is to adapt and thrive despite the adversity you face.
You're going to have that little voice inside of you trying to push yourself.
I set a vision for myself, and now I'm seeing it come to fruition.
I'm grateful for losing my leg.
There's just some things you must endure in life.
You might crash.
You can find a purpose in your suffering.
I'm not going to stop.
You do everything you possibly can.
We want to change the world.
I'm going to adapt to it and make it the way it works for me.
Take what it is from life that you want and enjoy it.
All right, what's up, everyone? This is Living Adaptive, and this is Scott Davidson. I've got great news. We've got more Reckless Adaptive hats, so we're going to be selling more of those. And so you can buy them online or DM me, and I'll send them your way. All proceeds, including the production costs, go directly to the Range of Motion Project, where we are giving prosthetic legs to kids in need. And so that is down in Ecuador right now. So we're still fundraising for that. And guess what? I'm still climbing. So we'll be climbing down there next year sometime. We don't know when. When COVID lets up, we're going down, and you'll see if I can actually make it up in a mountain or a volcano or whatever it is. I don't know. It's 20,000 feet up. I'm a little scared. We'll see. But anyways, the purpose of this all was to fundraise, and we do need to bring some healthcare equality down there and serve the underserved. So do that. Anyways, today we have a really, really great show for you. You know what? A lot of people ask me, what shows really stick out for you, Scott? And one that always stuck out for me was from the caregiver's perspective. So we are bringing on two caregivers, two wonderful people, two TikTok famous people, Robin and Nate Foutz. Thank you for being here, all.
Hey, thank you. We're excited.
How are you handling your new TikTok fame?
We are not TikTok famous.
Can I say something funny from last night? So one of those nights where you just got to order some pizza, right? And we order from a local pizza place, and they bring it out, and the delivery driver gets out of her car, and she said, "Oh my gosh, are you guys on TikTok?" And it's kind of funny because, I mean, we've had different things in life that have brought attention to us, but this was comical. Somebody who we never, I mean, lives in our town,
yeah,
but we never would have known each other otherwise. She said as soon as she saw Robin walking out the door to get the pizza, she was like, "Oh my gosh, you guys are on TikTok."
Yeah.
So, I mean, it became official last night. Thanks for asking.
We are officially TikTok famous.
Yeah, you really are. Like, when I encountered your TikTok account, it was pretty amazing. Like, what I saw happening there was bringing awareness that I haven't seen maybe ever. Because we're talking 1 minute or less videos talking about something very serious, but bringing joy, compassion, empathy, fun, a lot of laughter into, a situation that's extremely tough. Being within this disability world, it's very tough almost across the board. Every day there's a challenge. There's something like this. And you two are caregivers within that challenge, And so, like, watching how you navigate that and how your son Elijah finds so much joy in that has been really remarkable for me, and for others. How's the feedback been?
It's been pretty validating, encouraging. I think that I never thought about putting our family out there like this. Never. I mean, I don't think I felt there was a when I say safe, I don't know. I just like a safe enough platform that could really show who we are. And, you think about other platforms and it's just, little tiny glimpses, but you can't really get the full picture. And when TikTok came around, it just felt like we can be us on this platform. We can really be who we are. And I started posting videos of us, what we do with Elijah at home, how we have fun, but also showing taking people along the journey of our story and over the years, what's happened and, but also showing that, our purpose is really to bring joy and to show people that no matter what you face, the tragedy, the disability, the challenges, that there is always room for joy. Yeah. Always.
And I think that's why Robin's so great at the way she brings this, to light in such an organic way. Like, if I had to say, like, she could be Mother of the Year candidate every freaking year.
I mean,
I mean that.
Let's just put that out there.
People want to talk about me as super dad or whatever, but I mean, she is super mom, and I want to make that clear. But she has such an amazing way of coming up with a video idea that is so organic that just shows the love of our family. And I don't know. I want to commend her for that because I love it.
And it's almost like on TikTok, people have kind of adopted Elisha. You know, they're like, oh, his smile. Can I come hang out with you guys? And, you know, it's like not only just him, but they want to be a part of our family. And again, that's what our whole purpose is like to show that how did it affect us as a family? How does it affect Elisha? And then present that in a way that's authentic and who we truly are.
You know, you can come into the adaptive world, being born into the adaptive world. You can have some sort of incident happen, some sort of illness or whatever. You become part of the adaptive family. Whatever it is that happens. What is Elisha's adaptations though? Because like one thing that we've noticed is Dad, you get a back workout all the time, man. You're like carrying him, and you know he has a lot of challenges that you have to adapt to as caregivers, you know, like, so what are his adaptations?
Well, I mean, obviously Elisha's his accident happened at 12.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, he was blossoming into a teenager at that moment, and full of energy, full of life. And so when the accident happened, all of that changed, right? So his mobility, he doesn't have a lot of, he had a traumatic brain injury. So that has affected a lot of his mobility. He has a hard time moving his arms. He can,
exactly the way he wants to.
Right. He can. His legs are the same way. So he requires everything from us right now, right? We have to lift him. We have to feed him. We have to, you know, put his clothes on. We have to exercise him. We have to educate him. You know, all of that is on our plate. You know, we thank goodness there is equipment out there that can help. Now, you said my husband lifts him all the time, and he does, but he doesn't have to. We have a lift.
We do have a nice power lift. I'm one of those people who just kind of jumps in and gets there and just wants to get it done and you know, do what I got to do.
Speaking of that, Elisha's food machine is going off. Sorry.
All right, time out. At this point in the interview, we took a small break so Nate and Robin could assist their son, Elijah. I kept this break in the interview because this is an example displaying that a caregiver's job is sometimes all the time, even during interviews. If you watch Robin and Nate on social media, you will learn more about their roles as caregivers and, of course, parents. All right, back to the interview.
So we do have a nice power lift that we were able to lift him and move him around with. However, I'm the type of person who wants to, you know, do what I got to do when I got to do it. And I've got the physical ability to pick him up and do my thing with that. And, you know, also I think it adds a personal nature to it because he's so interactive when you're carrying him. And sometimes it's like oh my gosh, what's happening? Sometimes it's just like laughing because his hand will be on top of my head. And so it's, I don't know, it's so cool to be able to do that. So
you two are on a big stage quite a bit. When I say that, it's not just on social media. You're actually out there speaking, Robin. Nate, you've been a performer. You know, you've been out there and you've done some pretty amazing things. But in this time, like you being a part of this TikTok community and so forth, you've definitely encountered some negative things recently. You talked about that a little bit, and I thought your reaction was rather remarkable, especially since there's oftentimes not an easy way of dealing with bullying, whether you call it bullying, threats, whatever. What, you know, some of the stuff that has gone down, your reactions have been really solid. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that more often than not, what we're trying to do is not only put our family out there, put our son out there, is really to educate people. And a lot of times that bullying and that hate comes from a place of ignorance, of lack of understanding. Mm-hmm. And so we may not be able to change that one person that says something extremely hateful, extremely threatening. I mean, you know this, and we talked about this earlier, but you know, there are some pretty hateful people out there. But if we can put out to people that, hey, this happens, it can be extremely harmful. Those words can hurt people. But for us, listen, you might say that, but we're asking you to shut your mouth, to have compassion, to understand that these individuals may not look like you, they may not act like you, they may not talk like you, they may not understand the way that you do, but they are humans. And your words and your attitudes toward them need to shift to understanding that the humanity of these individuals. And so our purpose is to say, if for instance, we had somebody just the other day say something extremely horrible. It just shocked me to the point that I was in tears that they would look at my son so inhumanely. I mean, it was so heartbreaking to me. And we did a video about it, and it was like the community of people who saw that video rallied around us, and they started educating other people using that video. Yep. And so we're not going to allow that to intimidate us. We're not going to allow that to push us backwards. We are going to press in. We're going to show the world our family, hopefully educate individuals on how life can be full, even with challenges and disabilities and struggles. But yeah, those bullies, it's mainly because they're hurting, but also they're hurting and then out of their own hurt and out of their own ignorance and out of their own lack of understanding, they say things like that. And so if we can educate even one person, then we've done our part. And
I want to speak to, I think, what I love about how Robin handled it, because it's easy as dad. And, I'm sure you could probably relate. I'd love to pound somebody in the face for saying something like that. But one thing I love is that Robin had the heart to speak against what was said, not the person who said it. Because we don't hate anybody. Mm-mm. We just hate that there are people in this world who have maybe not been raised in a way to, speak kindly to others or whatever. But there's still a heart behind that, a hurting heart that would say something like that. So I love that the way Robin represented her heart, and that was not to beat somebody down. It was to speak out against the evil act that person, chose to say, or the thing they chose to say.
You're educators, whether it's in social media or outside of this or within your church or whatever. You're educators. You go out and make a difference with that. After going through something so traumatic as a father of a 12-year-old, currently, and myself having struggles, physical struggles and so forth, you guys have seen some things. You've been through some things. And when I look at your life, like, you have so much insight. Like, if we could pull some of that insight away, what helped you most? Like, what are some things that helped you most after this tragic accident, this difficult experience, to now go to where you are now?
I would say ultimately it's our faith.
Yeah.
I mean, that,
first and foremost.
Yeah. For us, our faith grounds us. It keeps us secure. So our view of life is not like life is this, because we view it like we have an eternal perspective. And so we have a hope, like, no matter if tomorrow Elisha completely heals, gets up, walks, talks, does whatever, or it's down the road or never on this earth, we do know what our hope is in. We will, for us as our faith, we know we will see that eventually in eternity. So ultimately, that's number one, is our faith. Number two would be community. We have an amazing family. We have amazing church and friends who have really helped us and supported us. And I think for me personally, number three would be my husband. I wouldn't even say put him at number three. One? I'd say just in all of that.
Edit it.
That's edited. It's gone.
Sorry, he's the best. But I would say too, within that, he is his strength, his consistency, his faithfulness to our family. I mean, everything he does is for us. That has made it easier. I don't want to say easy, but easier to take the steps that we've needed to take, to move forward, to find joy, to find hope, and to live that out. So I'm grateful to have a teammate like him.
Same.
You know, we're doing this together. And I mean, ultimately, we're a blended family too. So having somebody, I mean, literally, we were celebrating our first year of marriage in the hospital with Elisha. You know, that's our 1 year anniversary. And have somebody who is so solid and so committed to us, you know, is just remarkable.
Your son's remarkable. Like across the board, to see his face, his smile, his joy, you know, when he's around you all. When you're doing a dance, another dance or something. Like, it's amazing, you know, like it's a really amazing experience. And we, like, in a way, we've got to be part of your family. Being that you've let so many people like enjoy this experience in terms of that, like, what have you seen from the disability community in particular?
That's a great question. I think that I literally got a message the other day from a lady who said, as I've watched you share your family and share your son, it's made me feel more brave, to be braver, to step out, to be courageous, to show the world my children. And that's the goal here, is like, we can't be afraid. If we are trying to create a culture of inclusivity, and that includes those with disabilities, then we can't be afraid to show them on certain platforms like that, so the platforms that are available to us. So, man, I was like cheering her on, like, do it, come on, you know, put them out there. And not in an exploitive way, but in an educative way, in an authentic way. Like, in
a way to bring joy into people's living rooms, or, you know, wherever they're watching from their phone. I mean, there is joy no matter what your circumstances.
And I would think, like, for us, the uniqueness of Elisha's personality, he's such a ham anyway. If we do a TikTok, he has to see it, you know, he's like, and he'll start laughing at it. He loves it. He absolutely loves seeing his face on TikTok, because
he lights up when he sees himself.
He's such a ham. But I love that personality in him, and that the world can see that. And there are so many people out there that have disabilities, whether they're physical or intellectual, you know, or emotional, whatever it is. And they're hiding because they're afraid of what the world would say. And yet I would say, the world needs you. The world needs your voice. The world needs your personality. They need to see that you are just as much a part of our world and our culture as we are.
And I think we discovered that, I think in an earlier conversation, you know, you had said how, you know, to a friend, would you do it if you could impact one person in a positive way? Well, the truth is actually flip-flop. If the fear is, what if someone says something bad? The truth is, someone or a couple will say something bad, but isn't that worth the thousands or hundreds of thousands of people that are influenced in such a positive way? The joy, you know, the impact.
I spoke about this when I was interviewed recently, was that what if somebody does make comments? What if somebody does take pictures of my legs? They did like 6 weeks ago. I don't know, somewhere back then, not too far. And anyways, they were taking pictures of my legs. Like, look at this dude's legs. Doesn't he lift? You know, like where's his squats? Where's his calf raises? I can't control that. We can't control that people are going to say comments. We can't control any of that, but we can control how we respond in terms of what you did, Robin, going out there and saying, this is how it hurt. This is why it's wrong, and this is a solution when you feel like you need to say something so negative. And that's something we talk about a lot in a disability world, because you can't control somebody's going to mock you for being in a chair, being an amputee, or just having limb deficiencies where you look different, like myself. But at the same time, we can take that on the chin and make us, educate others of why this is such a problem and why this hurts. And so maybe those that care can help us, provide the feedback. Just like you had a whole army of people that went out there, duetted you, I guess that's the term, whatever you want to call it on TikTok. And anyways, they duetted you and came out and supported you. This unity that you're building started in the household, started with you folks. I've noticed that in your videos. You have children, you have other children that are there. How have they weathered all of this? When I say all of this, I mean all the way back to when Elijah's accident happened to now.
Yeah.
That's a great question. Again, great question, Scott.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that has been an easy road. That actually, my oldest son was with Elisha when the accident happened. So I remember even the day of the accident, him saying, "Mom, it's my fault. Mom, it's all my fault," because they were racing. And
they're a year apart.
Yeah,
they're like best friends.
I just have a video posted that shows how they grew up together. 11 months, 30 days apart, 11 months, 5
days short of
5 days short, yes. So really, really close, Irish twins. And it was really hard for him. And I remember when he told me, he's like, "Mom, it's all my fault." And I said, "Kiddo, I could do that all day. Like, why did I let you guys go ride your bikes? Why did I buy the house in that neighborhood? Why did I buy that bike?" All day long, I could blame myself, and here's what we have to do. We have to look at this moment. An accident happened, and we're going to have to make a decision to move forward. And I remember us having that conversation. Gosh, it's so clear in my mind. And, he ended up, we had counseling, and it's just it's a hurt that's deep. Annika was so young at the time. I mean, she's 13 now. Elisha's accident happened when he was 12, so he's 20. So she was so young, and she basically grew up we're in the hospital. This is how it is, for a while. And
and she kind of, like Elisha, just to even share his heart before, which makes sense on what you see now of him. Elisha was the older brother that it was nothing for him to be like, "Okay, I'll play Barbies with you." Like, cause I mean, that's, she's a 5-year-old girl. She didn't know it so much, but he never saw it as like a burden or anything. He would just, if she had a new video game, he would help her figure it out, because she was just, a young kid. And so, yeah.
And now that my son is 21, my oldest son, he is really coming into his own right now. And I'm really proud of the growth in him. But I mean, it does. And here's the thing. That moment marks you, right? There's a moment, it's just because it changed everything. It changed everything. And so we can allow that mark to hurt, or we can choose to say, all right, it hurt in that moment, and there are days it does still hurt, but we will move forward. We will choose joy. We will live from a place of hope and faith, and we'll stay unified as a family. We're not going to let this shake us off of it impacting the world around us, whether it's our neighbors, our family. And now how cool is it that now we get to impact like TikTok or, whatever social media platform that we get to impact. So it's been hard. So I don't want to say that that's been the easy thing for them, but it caused growth in all of us, and especially even our children.
You brought me back to my roots. You say, I've impacted one person or whatever, how many numbers you want to come up with. And you brought me back to my roots of why I started what I do. Why I do this is like, it was all about those stories. It's all about being out there. It's not about the money or anything else. It's about the stories. There is no money in this. I reject every sponsor. The point being is that the caregiver side. You know, I started this show wanting to share the caregiver side, and I stumble across your account, and I'm like alone, and it's a beautiful moment, and I'm crying. I'm crying as I watch the video. The particular video is dad's handing a football to Elijah. Nate is handing the football to Elijah. And I'm just really touched. I'm really touched that parents love a child so much you can feel the love. And when I see this platform where it's growing, you know, like, I wonder what's next for you two. I mean, you've already made major impacts as caregivers, as parents, as, you know, because caregiver, that could be somebody that's not in a family. In your case, you are the caregiver, your mom and dad. You love your son so much. You've done so much already. Where do you see this going and growing into it? Because I can see a ton of growth.
I'm thinking, first of all, a male modeling career, obviously.
I got you on Zappos. I got your connection over there.
Yeah, I mean, don't worry. I think we're already getting messages now. It's just, I don't know.
Not true.
Not true at all. I'm hitting them up and they're turning me down. I don't know.
I don't know either. To be honest with you, Scott, we started this thing in March of this year, and never, like I said, I know I keep saying it, but just never thought that people would gravitate to us the way that they have and gravitate to Elisha. But we're kind of like standing here with hands wide open, like whatever we need to do, we're going to do it. We're using all of the platforms that we can right now that we have time for. And we, maybe I've had people ask us to write a book. I actually started on a book. We've got some things potentially coming, but we are open-hearted, and I think I'm just so honored even that you would ask us to be on your podcast. That was just amazing to us. So yeah, we're open to whatever kind of comes in our pathway, and we'll see.
I hope people encourage you to start a podcast, to write a book, to do all those things, because those voices, there's not enough right now. There's not enough from this perspective. It's missing, and we don't have people talking enough, so perspectives can be had. And then also we need to uplift others, and here is where the uplifting can happen for the other caregivers, or just those of us with disabilities. Like, I was sitting there watching it and I felt uplifted. I'm like, man, that Rocky song got me going. Let's go figure something out.
That's right.
I'm going to ask you a question. I mean, you're on our show now.
Yes, let's go.
But
yeah, go.
Did you get to watch the video of me trying to score on Elisha playing basketball?
Yes.
I don't understand. Like, if there's one video I ever felt prideful about, it was that one.
It never took off.
It never took off. It's like these other videos are getting like 3-some million views, and that one has like 27,000. It's like, what is that?
It's still 27,000 people. That's.
But I thought you would know.
We'll repost. It's time to repost that. It's probably about an hour.
We need to cut that part.
No, that needs to be that, and me being a male model needs to be the highlight.
Yeah, that would be the highlight of the interview. Like, that's one thing. We spoke about this offline. This is important to be said. Hey, like, I have shitty looking legs, man. Like, it's the reality. It is what it is. They aren't like, this isn't exactly a sequoia holding me up here. And so, like, the fact is that we talked about this offline. It's always serious. It's serious all the time. For a lot of people that just aren't comfortable with the subject matter. I can tell everybody behind the scenes in competitions I've been in with other para athletes, which is one of late, that there's a lot of lightheartedness in this, and you do the same here. That was something that I thought also was unique. How'd you get brave enough to find laughter?
I don't even feel like it's us being brave. I feel like it's us just being us.
Cool.
It never occurred to us not to joke and not to be silly.
That's just who we are.
And I think that is what has resonated more than anything. Yes, the story is impactful, right? Those
Elisha's
deep
journey.
stories, Elisha's journey. But, you know, when we are on here and we're dancing and being silly, and I'm, you know, doing jokes, and Nate's like hitting a door, pretending like he just hit his head, right?
And sometimes
Elisha
it backfires and it actually hurts.
and Elisha starts cracking up. That is all day in our house. I'm not even lying.
And
it is all day.
and I think I was trying to allude to this earlier, but I want to attribute that to, I believe, Robin's uncanny ability and gift to portray these things on TikTok in a not fake way. Because I think sometimes this will cross my mind, like, especially like we talked about earlier with the dancing. I'm like, it seems fake. But so many times Robin says, oh, we should just do this, or we should do this, or Elisha's laughing at this, and we'll just kind of roll into it. And it's so natural, so organic. And Robin just has the eye for it and the ability just to like pick a time or just be observant of a time when, hey, you know, let's just do a little video as a family. And I really feel like it translates well. And I feel like I can say that bragging on her, not on us or me or whatever.
Nate, my audience will know something about you outside of this. A lot of them are 90s and 2000s kids. Someone here is a drummer, and when I stumbled on that, this was after we talked, I'm like, my God, Good Charlotte, man. You drum for them, Vroom, and you know, you've been drumming forever, man. You know, that's a pretty crazy experience. Your life's been wild. What was that like?
That was really weird, and Robin will be the first to tell you I'll make a short story long. But the best I can tell you is one of those weird life circumstances where, you know, I was in a band who was doing really well. Good Charlotte was coming up in their own way, very similar to us. And they happened to get signed before we did. And we had become good friends. And when their first drummer wasn't panning out and they needed a new drummer, they said, hey, can you do the best you can to fill in for us? And we'll see where that goes. And so it was pretty surreal because, you know, I was going from, you know, playing from 500 to 1,500 people to 3,000 to 100,000 people, depending on what show and what city we were in. And so, you know, it was a beautiful moment. It was a blast. I love to play drums. I'm very passionate about it. And so I don't know, it was crazy. It was a crazy time, but it was awesome.
You for Good Charlotte, though, that blew my mind. I'm like, Dad's pretty humble. He doesn't talk about that a lot. And your band previous.
I don't know how many times we're somewhere and she's like, you know, he used to drum for Good Charlotte. And I'm like, what does that have to do with my steak being medium well? I don't even know how to say it. I don't know. That was a random reference.
Yeah, get that damn steak back.
No, I'm totally kidding. But yeah, I don't know. It was a blast. And, you know, I don't know. I think I can relate to anyone who said, you know, they didn't think they would make it doing whatever, because I was just a kid who wanted to play drums, and my parents were the best parents in the world, but they told me every time I asked if I could get a drum set that, why would you want a drum set? Like, it's just loud, and, you know, don't get your hopes up with the band. You know, so few bands or people make it. And it's,
and his parents though are amazing.
Truly are the most amazing. They never meant any of it like you
practical.
It was just like, you know, hey, just don't get your hopes up, you know, trying to, you know, whatever. And hey, I got my 15 minutes of fame, and you know, whatever. But all I got to say is, if you have the passion for it, do it. Mm-hmm. And don't be afraid if you have to teach yourself, because if you're meant to do it, then, I mean, I sat down with Metallica Black Album until I could play it. And, you know,
that's not an easy album to be playing either.
Well, thank God I didn't start with Injustice for All or Master of Puppets or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, it's you know, what do you want? You know, what do you want to pursue? So
we are dating ourselves now.
I'm with you. We're in the same.
We're 19 to 20.
Yeah.
You two are very remarkable. I can't wait to see where you go. You know, like, I was really excited to even get the chance to talk to you. I hope you do build out the platform even more. Just keep broadening everything you're doing. I hope you do get a book and everything out there. This is a needed voice in our community. Love to check back in with you too. I'm going to have everything linked in the show notes so everybody will know where to find you in terms of TikTok too. So everybody, reach out. Give them a thanks for being here. Thank you, Robin and Nate. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank you for having
Scott.
us.
So great to meet you.
Remember, go to livingadaptive.com to find previous episodes, show notes, contacts for guests like this guest, links to social media accounts, and a bunch of other good stuff. So go there. Peace.